welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, and today we're going to be doing a pot with me Q&A sort of thing. This video was actually selected by my patrons over on Patreon. If you didn't know, I have a Patreon now. Basically, it's a place where you can subscribe for a small monthly fee and receive bonus content from me. And that content ranges from like having voting power like this and choosing for me to do videos like this, to getting an extra video a month, to even a personal video call with me each month where we can talk about plants that can help you shop or give you plant care tips and stuff like that, personally one-on-one. So basically, it's a place where you can get to know me better, I can get to know you better, we can all just have a grand old time. So there was my little shameless self-promotion. So I've got a bunch of caladium bulbs and some oxalis bulbs as well that I'm gonna plant up because it's spring, baby. The sun is out. Can you not tell the air in this apartment is luscious and sunny? So I think I'm gonna start out with the oxalis bulbs because I understand them a bit better. I've got some oxalis triangularis fanny bulbs and some oxalis Depii iron cross bulbs. I'm just gonna pot them in these little pots. Gonna be using my like average soil mix. First one, is being a plant parent what you thought when you started? No. Surprisingly not. I didn't really know what to expect when I started. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I didn't realize that I would end up here in my flat with like 100 plants and doing this. Like, I never expected that to happen. It just kind of did. I didn't realize how much of an addiction it was, because it's totally an addiction. Plant buying is an addiction. I can't stop. I can't stop. Can I stop? I don't know. The number of plants I have in this flat would say that I can't stop. But I also didn't realize how much I would love it. Taking care of my plants has become like a sort of meditation for me. I don't really get much out of meditation usually, but this like focuses my mind on one thing, and it really allows me to kind of take a step back from like the worries of life, and I can just really focus on my plants and taking care of them. So I think that's something I didn't expect to get out of it, which I really enjoy. So yeah, it isn't what I expected. I thought it would be easier as well. Like, it is quite a lot of maintenance, but I mean that was to be expected, I guess. When you get this many plants, it's gonna take a while to do anything and cost a lot and whatever. I'm also gonna label all of these because like obviously there's nothing sticking out of the soil, so like how am I meant to know what they are? So these are the fanny. Whoa, this one's sprouting! Can you see that? It's sprouting. That's so cool. Oh my god, that's so strange. Maybe I'll try to leave those bits out of the soil. Next question is advice for a beginner plant parent. Basically, I think the best advice is to look up your plants before you buy them, because there are many plants that I have got and they just kind of never work out because I didn't look them up before I bought them, and I couldn't give them the right care in my flat, which obviously means they're not gonna live, right? Like, if they're not gonna get the right care, they're not gonna grow. So I think the best advice is to really do research on plants before you get them, because otherwise you are in for some disappointment, and we don't want disappointment. We want success and happy plant parents. What is your best advice for a chronic overwaterer? It's really easy to end up overloving your plants. Like, it's just one of those things where it's like, I can give them water, they're gonna love that. No, they probably won't most of the time. But I think my best advice for overwatering is to get yourself a water moisture meter. Like, a water meter will really help make sure that your plants are dry before you're giving them water. So when you have that urge to water, you can like go in with your moisture meter and like check first. And honestly, that is the best thing for it, because if you're not checking, even with your finger, then you might end up overwatering, which obviously we don't want, because that's probably one of the easiest, most common causes of death in plants is overwatering. So it's just best to have some sort of moisture meter. I can link the one I have down below in the description because I absolutely love it. And it has really, really, really helped me in my watering journey, because I think I tended to be an overwaterer. That's how I killed most of my succulents. But if I had a moisture meter, I would have known. See, this is where I'm confused, all right? So obviously I've not grown caladiums before. I don't really know how they work fully. So I watched Mark from Your Babylon's YouTube video a couple of times about how to plant them before I did this, so I would like to know what to do. And he said there'd be like a bottom and a top to these things, but there's no bottom or top to this. It is like, there's no extra flat side, but there is a flat side, but that side looks like the side that stuff would come out of. Like, I just genuinely have no idea. Like, would it be bad if I potted it upside down? What would happen? Would it be okay? I'm gonna just give it a go. Trial and error, right? That's why I bought so many freaking caladiums, because some of them will work and some of them won't. I guarantee that, because can't all be successful. Next question is, how do you know when to repot? That is a very good question. I tend to wait until my plants have roots that are coming out of the bottom of the pot. That kind of shows that it is looking for more space, trying to expand somewhere else. Makes sense, right? Some other signs are that it's getting dry really fast, like they are, like the roots just absorb the moisture really quickly and you're having to water it more often. Also, growth stopping in peak seasons could mean that it is time for a repot. I mean, that could also be a sign of other things as well, but if it's that in conjunction with drying out quickly and like roots coming out of the bottom of the pot, you'll know it's time for a repot. Whoa. Okay, this one's a bit more obvious, I think. This one looks like it has eyes. It looks like it sits like this, because the bottom doesn't look like it's got much on it, but the top looks like there's some eyes in there, which that makes me feel better. I feel like I can actually do this properly. I am gonna de-eye it though, because that's something that Mark Your Babylon did to promote bushier growth. He said it's kind of like de-eyeing potatoes, which I can do that. Just take off like the main eye, and so it activates the eyes around it. Makes sense, doesn't it? The next question is, what are you propagating right now? So I'm actually propagating a few things right now. I am propagating some golden pothos, doing some experiments to see whether water propping is the best way, or moss, or perlite, or leca, whatever. Doing an experiment. We all love an experiment. I'm propagating some philodendron cobra, Monstera standeliana, I think is the other name for it. Those are in perlite, which is fun, and some are in moss. What else? My big string of hearts that I'm propping in moss right now. I cut off the whole thing. It was huge. It was like bigger than me in height, and I'm 5'9". And it was just getting really leggy, so I decided to chop it and prop it. And that's going really well, actually. A lot of my little like butterflies have some new growth coming out of them, which is super exciting. Hopefully it'll mean I can have a more bushy plant in the future, which would be awesome. I would much prefer a bushy string of hearts to like a stringy string of hearts. I'm also propping some silver and pothos and Scindapsus truby moonlight. I had a couple like runners on them from winter, just like not much growth, so I'm trying some wet stick propagation with them in moss, just to see if I can do it, you know, just to see what's up, maybe make some new smaller plants for somebody in the future, maybe a plant swap or something like that. So yeah, so that's what I'm propagating right now. Next question is, which plant or plants are your favorite right now? I think my favorite group of plants is always going to be pothos, both epipremnum and Scindapsus. Like that whole group of plants is just some of the easiest, most forgiving, like most low maintenance. I don't need to worry about them plants, which I find really useful. I don't want to have to worry about all of my plants all the time. Some of them, sometimes I can deal with, but like all of them all the time, it's just, it can get to be a lot of work. So it's nice to have plants that like you don't need to worry about. And I think Scindapsus and Epipremnums are some of those, just because they look great. And I love the way they trail. I love a good trailing plant. And I just think overall, they're just really pretty. And like there's so many different types. So like you can really adapt them to your space, which I find really nice. So yeah, I think Scindapsus, Epipremnum, pothos in general are my favorites. Love good pothos. And like I don't think that's ever gonna change. Like I love getting fancy, rare, special, different plants. Like it's fun and I enjoy it and I like those specimens that I get. But there's just something about having plants that are easy that like, even if I don't have time, I know these plants are gonna love me. And so it's just a low stress plant. Also, I totally don't remember what any of these caladiums look like. I bought some from House of Kojo and some of them were gifted to me by Little Eden Tropicals. And the ones I bought from House of Kojo, I pre-ordered them. And so it's been over a month since I did that. I have no recollection what they look like whatsoever. I know I could look them up, but I think I'm gonna enjoy the surprise. I think it'll be fun. Next question is, how's it going with our cat? Cleo is doing okay. She is settling in really, really well. She has gotten so used to our flat so quickly. She's not struggled getting used to us. She's letting us like pick her up now a bit, which is great because before she wouldn't let us even do that. So like she's really getting better. But at the same time, she has had like what the vet thinks is a cat flu for the past couple weeks. Basically since we've got her, she's had a bit of a runny nose, unfortunately. She hasn't been feeling her like tip-top-ist and she's been a bit sneezy and snotty, which sucks. She's on medication for it, so hopefully it goes away soon. But other than that, she's great. She's lovely. She's not really destroying plants much unless she wants attention. There are a couple plants that when she wants attention, she'll go for in order to make us give her attention, which makes sense. It sounds like we're depriving her of attention. We're not. I constantly go up to her all the time, like cuddling her and saying I love her and playing with her and all that. It's just her wanting more. This question is fitting for right now. It is, what is your soil mix? So in my soil mix, it is mostly coco coir. It used to be about 60%. Probably is still about 45 or 50%. A good chunk of worm castings and perlite, equal parts of that. And then I also have bark in it. I think it's orchid bark. And I've just started putting it in my mix because I really like how chunky it is. I don't know if that's like a good thing or not, but I think it helps aerate the soil and I like how it looks. I don't know if that's weird. I'm choosing aesthetics. But I don't think it's harmful. I think my plants quite like it and it kind of gives more chunk to the mix, gives the roots something to like cling on to. And then I also add a bit of activated charcoal, which is just to like prevent like fungus and stuff in the soil. Yeah, so that's my mix. I can write the ratios down in the description because I don't remember them off the top of my head. But it's like mostly coco coir and perlite and worm castings, and then like a little bit of bark and a little bit of activated charcoal. Are you single? What's your job? No, I'm not single. I have a boyfriend. He's working in the next room. And my job, outside of this YouTube, which is now, I guess, my part-time job officially, because I've gone part-time at my other job, which I was full-time at. That job is art handling. Basically, I work for a gallery and I'm one of the people that puts up and takes down all the art that happens in the gallery, which is pretty cool. I enjoy it. It's interesting and like fun work most of the time. So yeah, that's my job, but no, I'm not single. Sorry. Okay, this is a good question. A plant that looks dope and likes places with no direct light / shadow. I sounded really dorky when I said dope. I do say dope sometimes, like in normal language, but plants that like no direct light or shadow. I think one of the easiest plants that I have that likes that is my cast iron plant. They tend to be super chill about not getting much light. They're slow growers, but they don't need to grow fast, I guess. What else? ZZ plants are good as well. It depends really on the space and like really how dark it is. No plant is going to grow in no light unless you have grow lights. All plants need some light. No matter what, they need it to photosynthesize. And if they're not getting any light, it's just not going to work. So hopefully it is getting some light. But for indirect light, things like cast iron plant, ZZ plant, marantas tend to be okay. Lots of pothos tend to be okay. Snake plants can be okay as well, surprisingly. They won't grow very much, but they'll be fine. Yeah, it's just a matter of whether you want your plants to like thrive or just survive, because most plants will survive in lower light, but they probably will not thrive, and they probably won't put out much new growth, which is fair. If you don't eat, you're not going to grow. Oh, I like this question. What does your boyfriend think of the amount of plants that you have? He thinks that I have a lot of plants. Obviously I do. I think he likes how they look, so he can't complain all that much, and he doesn't care for them at all, so he can't complain about that either. But I think sometimes when on days like today when I've just like taken over the kitchen and I'm probably making a mess because I'm repotting plants, it's not his favorite thing, but like he understands and he knows that I'm passionate about them, and so he's gonna be okay with it, and he's super supportive of me. I know I'm very lucky to have a good support system because that really makes a huge difference. But yeah, it's fine. He's fine. He doesn't mind it too much, which is good. Oh, this is a good one as well. Who/where do you go if you need plant advice for yourself? If I need plant advice, I mostly go to Instagram if I have specific questions. I have a couple of friends on there that I will ask different friends for different things. Specific plants, I'll look on YouTube and see if there's any like plant care videos on those plants. But mostly it's just me doing lots of research. I do a lot of research. I do research obviously for these videos, but also for myself and stuff. But like I just Google most things. Or I will post something on my stories and be like, hey, help me, what's wrong? Or on my Instagram feed. People are really helpful on there, and like I often get really good advice from people on Instagram, which is nice. And like it's such a lovely community, and everyone's always willing to help each other out, which is good. I really enjoy that about Instagram plant community. But yeah, that's where I go when I need advice. I know that wasn't a very clear answer, but it's the truth, you know? That was my last bulb. That went by so fast. I feel like I didn't answer very many questions. Whoops. Okay, let's do a rapid fire round then. Do you have any carnivorous plants? If yes, any tips? Unfortunately, no, I don't. Sorry. Have you ever imported? If so, from where? No, I haven't. It terrifies me to import because I don't want to risk plants getting lost in the mail, stuck in the mail, dying in the mail, or like customs taking them or having to pay like loads of money. It just terrifies me. Maybe I'll do it one day. If I do, I'll bring you along in the journey, but I'm terrified of it, so no, I don't. Suggestions, tips, or tricks on helping plants produce new growth. Put it in its ideal location. Make sure it's getting adequate light, getting the right amount of water. If it's the spring and summer, maybe it needs a feed. Obviously, don't over-fertilize your plant, but really looking up what your plant needs is probably the best bet. When is the best time to plant a cutting that has started rooting? If you're rooting in water, probably when the roots are about 1 inch or so. That should be fine for them. And then I also got some questions about how to transplant from water to soil and to avoid transplant shock. I haven't tried this, but I think I'm going to in my next trials with water propagation. Slowly adding soil to your water mixture will help the roots kind of transfer from water roots to soil roots to like solidify and become stronger. So I think next time I'm water propagating, I'm going to try that as a method and see if that does help with transplant shock. I have heard good things about it, and I've heard it is better, so I think that's how you deal with that. What made you come to the UK? I did my master's degree here, and I stayed because I have a life here now and a boyfriend, and I love my flat, and I love my plants, and I love my cat, which lives here now. So like, I'm probably not going anywhere anytime soon. Last question. Have you any progress on your stephonia erecta bulb? Medium. It's probably about 2 or 3 mil now, that little tiny sprout. It's kind of stopped doing anything. I don't know if it needs more light or what. It's been fairly bright here lately, but I'm not sure. It's still in its cloche and it hasn't grown out of that yet, so I'm just gonna keep it there. I think it's just one of those plants that just takes a long time, so it is what it is. That's it. That's me potting up all these caladiums and oxalis and answering some of your questions. Thanks again to my patrons for picking this video out for me. If you want to have your say in future videos, head over to my Patreon and subscribe, and you can like really choose what I do. Like, you have a good say in it. If you like this video and want me to do more videos like this, please leave a thumbs up down below and comment on other houseplant related videos you'd like me to do in the future, and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! I don't know where I'm gonna put these.